that's pretty much what it was. Is like now I got a decent paying job and stuff like that, so it's helping to pay that a little bit, pay the stuff I need or want.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
but to answer your question about like to find, I know that people on the autism spectrum are kind of shunned from society, and that
Mm-hmm.
is really, really unfortunate
Mm-hmm.
because they are. I think they're more detail oriented than I think we autistics are more detailed oriented than most uh, people are.
I agree. Yep.
And that's one thing that I know most employers actually really want you to have
Mm-hmm.
is a very good attention to detail and and stuff like that. I mean, I like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I in my current job, I used to be very, very detailed in what I was writing about, but then I had people tell me, okay, here's where you can trim and stuff like that. This doesn't need to be said.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today I have Wes Huntington, and this guy has done a lot, and he's awesome. So I can't wait for him to share his story and tell you all about him. So Wes, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. So I live here. I live in Minneapolis. I'm married and I have a almost 7-year-old cat. I have a pretty decent paying job. I'm on the autism spectrum. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. 2 college degrees.
Awesome.
So
Well, that's awesome. What do you have degrees in?
I have a degree in English and I actually have a degree in mass communications.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So are you using those degrees at your current job?
Yes, I am actually.
Awesome. That's good. That's good. I know a lot of people that go to college and then they don't use what they went to college for. So yeah, it's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, I did not expect to where I'm at in my life. Actually, I did not expect that. Where I currently work for a major bank here in the Twin Cities. I'm a financial crimes investigator, so I write up what's going on with. I do. It's just minor stuff, minor things that are normally reported. I can't do like bigger things, but I'm not a part of that kind of team. There's specialized teams who have bigger things. But but I did not expect where I'm at. Actually, with both degrees, I actually really wanted to be a radio broadcaster. So so I did not expect to do that with my but it's okay. It's like I'm using my both my English and my mass communications degrees to pretty much report on what's going on regarding specific certain types of cases regarding bad financial crimes.
Yep. Well, your job title sounds really cool. So that's awesome. And somebody has to do it. So
yeah, somebody has to do it. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole bunch of. I mean, every single bank has these kind of teams. My particular one, we have teams in Minneapolis, we have teams in Arizona, we have teams in North Carolina. So it's like all over the country, and it's not just domestic. Some of our cases involve international people as well. So.
Yep. Well, that's awesome, and it's good that you're out there working, getting things done. So if I remember right, you are a co-host on a podcast, right?
Yes, that is correct, Nick. I am the creator and co-host of a Star Trek podcast called Cities Trekkies. Um,
Cool.
as as of today, actually, it's been around for about 3.5 years.
That's
So,
awesome.
yep. So we started in February. Me and my co-host, we started in February of 2021 when everyone was still pretty much not doing much outside of the home because of the pandemic.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
and now over the past year and a half, I have pretty much kept the podcast going
Mhm.
because my co-host has more of a social life than I do.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's nothing personal towards her at all. It's just like she's more out there, with other things like with her, like she lives with somebody, like her pretty much common law husband and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and it's just like and she got more of a social life than I do, and it's nothing personal with her. It's just that's the way things happen. So.
Yep, exactly. Sometimes when you are partnered in something, it doesn't always work out. But it's good that you were able to keep it going.
Yeah, because I feel like if I had not kept it going, it probably would have. I don't think I would be having the audience I got now regarding
Mhm.
it. I mean, granted, our audience our podcast audience is small, but
Mhm.
it's granted, I think on average maybe 50 people listen a week.
Okay.
But to an episode, and it could be any of them. So I have over 80 episodes over 3.5 years. Um,
Mhm.
but we did take a break in July of 2023 when the SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild,
Mhm.
was strike. They made the authorization to strike against the American producers of I don't know the
Mhm.
AMPTP. I don't remember exactly. I can't remember the whole acronym, but I know it's American
Yep.
producers, and they were striking against the major studios and streamers like Netflix and Hulu and Disney and Amazon. All those
Mhm.
all those streamers you hear about all the time. They
Mhm.
were, yeah. So I I'm a firm labor supporter, like organized
Mhm.
labor. So that's why we took a break. Even though Twin Cities
Mhm.
Trekkies is not a rewatch podcast, we do get early access to episodes that will be airing on
Mhm.
Paramount Plus in the United States. Like we'll get them. We'll get like a handful of episodes before the public gets to see them. Um,
Mhm. Well,
we just
that's
decided we just
cool.
decided to not do any episodes, and then when SAG-AFTRA decided to ratify their deal, or it was settled in
Mhm.
December of 23. We decided I decided to tell people, hey, we're still around and that kind of thing. And there were some things that happened personally in my personal life, but then
Mhm.
also with my podcast in general. Unfortunately, the original Instagram account got hacked in
Oh, really?
September. Yeah,
Mm.
so that was kind of disappointing. It
Yep.
got hacked. I was a victim of a hack with that, unfortunately, and I relaunched my Instagram account in January of 2024. Because I was trying to figure out, okay, do I really want to do that again? I mean, I was more what's the word to describe it? More hesitant to
Mhm.
relaunch it.
Yep.
But
Yep. Yep. I get that, but we all know that social media is important nowadays, so it's good that you did. I relaunch it and get it going again. So that's awesome.
hmm and that's and that's how I've been able to get my guests on the show. Actually,
Yep.
I've had plenty of guests on the show recently, and they're going to be and now I'm getting a lot more guests now, and I'm doing guests for the rest of the year, pretty
Mhm.
much.
Awesome.
So which is nice.
Awesome. So, I don't know a whole lot about Star Trek. I
Hmm.
know what it is, but what all do you talk about on your show?
We talk about the last 58 years of history, pretty much regarding Star Trek.
Really? Okay.
It's pretty much everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
our our slogan is we talk about everything from the original Star Trek all the way to Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which is now the newest one,
Mm.
and everything in between. So,
Okay.
but that
Awesome.
slogan will be updated once the one of the new shows will be premiering in a year and a half, I think. So
Hmm.
they're gonna start production on that. I think at the end of August. So or at least after Labor Day weekend.
Yep.
So
Yep.
uh, so that will be updated once it starts airing. So it'll
Awesome.
so
Well, for anybody listening, where can they tune into your podcast?
we're on every platform you can think of. Our main site, our main host site is Spotify for podcasters, which was
Mm-hmm.
formerly known as Anchor.fm.
Yep.
So so they're the ones who distribute the podcast throughout podcast land, I should say.
Yep.
Regarding you can find us, you can find Twin Cities Trekkies on every podcast platform like not Google Podcast. Google Podcast went away. Like Apple Podcast. We're on Spotify, obviously. Um,
Yep.
and we're
Oh,
also
cool.
available on a couple of radio sites as well. TuneIn Radio, and I
Mm-hmm.
just recently um, had the podcast uploaded to iHeartRadio. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
both of those sites you can listen to Twin Cities Trekkies that way. Because the reason why I named it Twin Cities Trekkies was because both my co-host and I live here in the Twin Cities, actually. Because
Mm-hmm.
I live in
Yep.
Minneapolis, she lives in Bloomington. So,
Okay.
so she and I, so that's how I came up with the name. Is like we're both Star Trek
Mm-hmm.
fans, and I am more of the hardcore fan. I know trivia and like obscure production history and
Yep.
stuff like that. And I would probably tell you that this happened in this episode and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But she is more of the casual fan than I am. So
Yep.
and that's
Yep.
fine. I don't.
Yeah. Oh,
We have
yep.
good chemistry with each other, and
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about we just have a passion for Star Trek. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, the name of your show is awesome, and I'll actually be up in the Twin City tomorrow, so
Mm.
I'll be in your neighborhood.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah, yeah. So, my show, I also like to talk about our struggles.
Hmm.
So, you are on the autism spectrum,
Hmm.
so I would like to get a little info about that and how you overcome things to help other people. So, my question to you is, when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed at the age of 3, Nick.
Okay.
The reason why I was diagnosed was like my parents didn't see me crying or I couldn't talk or anything like that until I was 3. That's when I
Mm-hmm.
was they took me to a specialist and I got tested and I found out I actually have high functioning Asperger's syndrome. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah. So it's on the autism spectrum. So I'm
Yeah.
on the higher functioning aspect of it. And
Mm-hmm.
there's one thing about that I am really appreciative of is the
Mm-hmm.
fact that I see people who have disabilities, um, uh, like uh, uh, like like people who are nonverbal or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
because that can happen if you're autistic. Um,
Yep.
I see people having struggles all the time, be it at the Mall of America or any public place or
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And I see these people struggling. I'm going like, and I see myself, and I go like, that could have been me.
Mm-hmm.
That easily
Yep.
could have been me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but thankfully, I was on the higher end of the spectrum. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. So, as a child, if you think back, like, what was like a a big challenge that you had to get through?
ooh, I think speaking more clearly. I think,
Mm-hmm.
um, I, I,
Same,
yeah,
same here.
yep, yeah, I had a tendency to speak a little bit too fast.
Yep.
Um, and that was, I think, I mean, ever since, I mean, I know when I get nervous or anything like that, I'll tend to speed up my speech,
Yep.
but not as much as I used to,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak, because I'm 34 now. I mean, granted, um, I think probably that, and also, is a little bit more of a childhood. So I was thinking like more, I was thinking like more middle school when you were asking that question, Nick. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to learn a second language,
Okay.
actually, and I at from like ninth grade all the way up until senior in high school, I took Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember most of it now, unfortunately, because I didn't continue
Yep.
it in college. But
Mm-hmm.
I wish that's one regret I actually have from college is I wish I had continued my language learning, but
Yep. Yep.
there's always apps on your phone you can get, like Duolingo, for
Yeah.
example. I mean, granted,
Yep.
I did that. I started doing that in the middle of the when we were all staying at home because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So I did.
Mm-hmm.
Both me and my
Yep.
wife did. So
Mm-hmm.
so
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's never too late to learn a new language.
yeah, it's, you're
That's something that I want to do at some point also.
yeah you're absolutely right, Nick. It's never too late. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
granted, I mean, as you grow older, you stop
It,
to it's harder to retain it. Uh,
exactly. Yep.
it,
Yep.
whereas children who learn a second language from like kindergarten all the way up to like fifth grade, they retain
Mm-hmm.
it more than adults do.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Exactly. So, what, you know, how is it like interacting with other kids?
It was hard. I
Mm-hmm.
think. I mean, I've had very few friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially when I was in elementary school, I didn't have very many friends. Mainly
Okay.
because I was kind of like the loner kid.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, I mean, granted, I had friends, but they were, but I was pretty much always by myself, and it's
And
nothing. I
did
mean,
you, at that point, did you want more friends, or were you
oh,
happier just on your own?
I was more happier on my own actually at the
Yep.
time
Yep.
because I was more of an introvert growing up. And
Yep.
so I was more of an introvert. Now I'm more of an extrovert. So,
Yeah.
well,
Now you got your own podcast and all of that.
yeah. So yeah, I've been an extrovert for at least since college, at least.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, it's especially I think from at least the last 11 years of my life, I've been more of an extrovert than I've been an introvert.
Yep. Awesome. So, I've had a few clients who are on the autism spectrum, and I
Hmm.
hear the same thing over and over that it's hard for them to find a job. So, for you, you've been working a while. Do you have a tip that you could give others when they are looking for jobs?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a very good question, Nick. Um, my, well, first of all, I was I'm actually gonna answer that question with something that happened in my life, if that's okay with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love stories. So
yeah,
yeah.
of course. When I was 14, I was in eighth grade at the time, and
Mhm.
I had a special ed teacher who told me that um, I wouldn't be, I would probably graduate high school, and that would be it for my education.
I
Um,
can't believe teachers can say that shit.
yeah, I
But
know, I
keep
know,
going.
I know, and now, in 20 years later, I wish I had told him like, look at me now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Exactly.
but I was told I wouldn't, like, I'd get a high school degree and that was it. I mean,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't be able to go to college. I wouldn't be able to do these other things, that I have accomplished in my life. Like
Yep.
the two college degrees. I mean, granted,
Mhm.
I accumulated a lot of student debt in the process, but
Yep.
but I just you know and then I was like, and I got married. I got married, and I have a really decent paying job now,
Mhm.
compared to where I was about 3.5 years ago, regarding that, because my previous job was lower paying than I get paid now. So, I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
especially once the inflation problem started happening, it got more and
Mhm.
more expensive to buy stuff.
Yep.
But not so I don't mean to bring in politics there, but it's just like or economics.
Yep.
So, but especially economics. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Is like now I got a decent paying job and stuff like that, so it's helping to pay that a little bit, pay the stuff I need or want.
Yep.
But
Mhm.
to answer your question about, like, to find, I know that people on the autism spectrum are kind of shunned from society, and that
Mhm.
is really, really unfortunate
Mhm.
because they are. I think they're more detail oriented than I think we autistics are more detailed oriented than most uh, people are,
I agree. Yep.
and that's one thing that I know most employers actually really want you to have
Mhm.
is a very good attention to detail, and and stuff like that. I mean, I like I said,
Mhm.
I in my current job, I used to be very, very detailed in what I was writing about, but then I had people tell me, okay, here's where you can trim, and stuff like that. This doesn't need to be said. This doesn't need to be said. And I've actually taken
Mhm.
that advice to heart, and I've done that very
Yep.
well. For the last 2 years now with my job. I know I just
Mhm.
celebrated 2 years at my current position. So,
That's awesome.
which was yesterday, which is August 15th.
Mhm.
So, I did that. Um, but it's kind of disappointing that autistics are kind of shunned, and
Mhm.
because they, I think employers are influenced by things they see in the media,
Mhm. Yep.
mainly
That's for sure.
mainly the misinformation about it,
Mhm.
especially that ridiculous theory that vaccines cause autism, which I know is absolutely ridiculous. So I do not understand why people still say that is a problem more than a decade after the doctor who said it was the reason was arrested for misinformation in England for saying that. So I do
Mhm.
not understand. So, but I mean, I guess
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Just get out there and try. That's what you can do. Just like anybody else that's finding a job, just get out there and try. And for any employers listening to this, please, if you have someone apply for your company who has autism, please just give them a chance. Like, see how they do. See if it works out. If it don't work, then so be it. But it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah, and I agree 100% on that, Nick, because I will freely admit, because even though I'm on the autism spectrum, I don't disclose that very often,
Yep.
especially in interviews, because especially when you're applying for jobs. I mean,
Yep.
I generally do not disclose that because I do not want unforeseen biases
Yep.
thrust,
You're,
thrust,
you know,
thrust upon me,
yeah.
which thrust upon me. So
I,
that's, and I've only told in my current job, I've only told my manager and my team lead about it. That
yeah.
and that's nothing personal. I just prefer not to. I just prefer not to do it because even though because I take things personally. I mean, when
Yeah.
I make a mistake, I take it personally, and that's my brain how my brain reacts to things. Especially when it's mistakes, and I just take them personally, way too personally than probably most people, because
Yep. Yep.
way too many. I take it way too personally, and
Yep.
I just try not to. I don't disclose it very often that I'm on the autism
Yeah.
spectrum. I don't mind telling it to you and your audience
Yeah.
because I'm comfortable in my own skin regarding that sort of thing. So
Exactly. You're not hiding it. It's just like the way I look at it is like, I have a disability. You have, you're on the autism spectrum, but it doesn't define us. It's
no,
just a little part of who we are. So, like, my personal opinion, you don't have to disclose that.
no,
That's my opinion.
yeah,
I don't think you do.
no. And if you okay, I tell people. I mean, if you're on the autism spectrum and you're listening to this show, listening to this episode of your podcast, Nick, and you're on the autism spectrum, if you wish to disclose it, go for it. But if you really want to get an interview, and I'm saying this out of personal experience, don't disclose it unless you really need to. I mean,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
I think there are unforeseen biases that you don't
Yep.
anticipate.
I agree.
You don't anticipate because I remember I used to have a bunch of temp jobs before I got my permanent job. And I remember I was unemployed for 4 months in 2019. So, and I went on plenty of interviews for full-time positions. And I do remember one time I went to this one interview and I told them flat out, like, hey, I'm on the autism spectrum and stuff like that. I just because I was trying to tell them, hey, kind of like you were saying earlier, Nick, regarding like, take a chance on these people, take a chance on me because, even though I'm on the autism spectrum, don't let those unforeseen biases you may have define.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much for that insight. I know it's going to help a lot of people. Just don't let your disability or different abilities, like I like to say, don't let them stop you. Just get out there, apply for jobs. Just do it. Just apply for 100 jobs. I bet you get one. So,
Yeah. Just try to find the ones that granted, I remember hearing this a lot, and I understand completely where they're coming from. If you are passionate about what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
So, and that's how I feel about, granted, there were times in my current position where I absolutely hated it. But ever since May of this year, my demeanor has changed. And it's thanks to my wife, among all people. So, my wife of nearly 5 years. So, and she wrote a saying on our bathroom mirrors: "Be the reason someone smiles."
I love that. Yes.
I asked her if she got it from somewhere. She said she made it up. So, and I've taken that to heart, and I encourage you, Nick, and I encourage everybody who's listening to do stuff, doing anything you want to do, be it your job, your home life, your social life, or with your friends. If you see somebody who is struggling, I mean, granted, here in Minneapolis there are tons of panhandlers, unfortunately. No offense to anybody. And they may be, trying to get money from you, but and I don't mean that in the bad way at all. I don't mean I don't mean that, because it's typical of any major city in the country. You'll find homeless people who are probably panhandling people, and it's just it's just something that you see, and stuff like that. But if you see somebody like saying like I will bring up a story about that.
Okay.
This was earlier this year, I think. Yes, or late last year. Yeah, it was late last year, around Christmas time, on the holidays. So, my wife and I went to the Target store. Went to a Target store, and we were getting some stuff for ourselves. And there was this couple who were ahead of us in the line because we were ready to check out. And this couple really wanted these like winter boots for their kid, who was probably like 2 years old. I'm just making a guess about how old they were. So what had happened was they couldn't afford it, and I decided to. They were like $10, so I was just like, you know what, I'll pay for them. They can have it, and I gave them a reason. Awesome. I gave them a reason to smile that night, because they were like saying, they were like telling us, "Oh, thank you very much," and I was like, you know what, and I was telling them, "Hey, it's no problem."
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I can tell you're a really good person. So, my slogan is, your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
Oh, abilities are infinite. Yes, actually, I agree with that statement 100%. First of all, I'm going to say that it means to me that if you're passionate about what you're doing, be it anything, you're gonna have a fulfilling life in whatever you're doing. And is it in this, like I just said before, it's not just your job. It could be also your home life. It could be your social life. It could be anything you're.
Exactly. I agree. Thank you so much, and thank you for being on the show. It was really helpful and insightful. Of course. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.